Someone said something about you. And it landed right here just below the ribs. That quiet little sting you barely had time to register before your face did something completely without your permission. You laughed. Not a polite smile. Not a nervous giggle. An actual real laugh. You might have even leaned into it, added a comment, extended the joke, handed them more material. All while something inside you was going, wait. The moment passed. Everyone moved on. But later, maybe in the car, maybe at 11 p.m. staring at your ceiling, it replayed. Word for word. And you thought, that wasn't funny. That actually bothered me. So why did I laugh like it was the best thing I'd heard all week? Here's the thing. That question has a real answer. And it's not the one most people expect. Picture this. You're with a group. Friends, workmates, family, doesn't matter. Someone makes a comment. It's aimed at you dressed up as a joke. Maybe it's about something you're already quietly insecure about. Maybe it comes with a grin and a just having a go, mate. And you laugh. Genuinely laugh. Maybe louder than anyone. The conversation moves on. You keep smiling. You grab another drink. You contribute a few more things. And on the surface, everything looks completely fine. But something shifted. You felt it. This low, almost imperceptible change in the temperature of the afternoon for you, even while everyone else was still laughing. By the time you're alone, you're not laughing anymore. You're doing that thing where you replay it. Every word, every face in the room, every moment you didn't say what you actually wanted to say. And underneath the replay is this quiet, uncomfortable question. Why did I make it so easy for them? Here's the answer. And once you hear it, the shame you've been carrying about this, quietly by yourself, starts to actually make sense. Most people dismiss this. They tell themselves they're just relaxed, easygoing, not the type to make things weird. But here's the tell, they're still thinking about it 4 hours later. That's the thing about this pattern. It doesn't make a lot of noise in the moment. It's quiet, composed, functional even, but it accumulates. Because every time you laugh through something that hurt you, you send a signal, not just to the other person but to your own nervous system, that this is the acceptable version of events. And over time, the people around you start to learn something about you. Not who you actually are, but who they're allowed to be around you. That's why this matters. Not because of one uncomfortable moment at a get-together, but because of what repeating that moment over months and years quietly does to the way you move through the world. So what is actually happening in that moment? Because it's not weakness. It's not people-pleasing exactly. And it's definitely not you being fine with it. What's happening has a name. And it comes from the same part of your brain that decides, in a fraction of a second, whether you're safe. Most people know fight or flight. Threat arrives, you either push back or you run. But there are two other responses that nobody really talks about. One is freeze. Your system just stops, goes blank. And the other one, the one we're here for today, is fawn. Fawning is what happens when your nervous system calculates, faster than conscious thought, that the safest path through this moment is appeasement. Make the threat comfortable. Signal that you're not a problem. Keep the room warm. And laughter is the most socially powerful appeasement signal humans have. It says, I'm fine. We're fine. Nothing to escalate here. The part that changes everything though, the part most people miss entirely, is this. That response didn't go through your conscious brain first. It wasn't a decision. It fired before you'd even finished processing what was said. Your body moved, your face followed, and by the time your brain caught up, the moment was already done. That laugh wasn't fake. It was completely real. It just wasn't a choice. Once you know what to look for, you see this everywhere. The woman who laughs the loudest at her partner's cutting remarks in front of friends, and then barely speaks for the rest of the night, though she couldn't tell you exactly why. The bloke who chuckles along when his manager takes a dig at him in a team meeting, and then sits in the car park for 12 minutes before he can make himself drive home. The adult who still laughs at family dinners when a parent drags out that old, painful story, because somewhere in their history, laughing was genuinely the safest available option. None of these people are naive. None of them are weak. None of them secretly enjoyed it. They're protected by a nervous system that learned, through actual experience, that conflict is dangerous, and that absorbing discomfort quietly is less costly than expressing it honestly. That protection came from somewhere real. And this is the part one really want you to sit with. The fawn response doesn't arrive out of nowhere. It doesn't just randomly develop. It forms in environments where expressing discomfort wasn't safe. Where saying that hurt led to something worse than the original hurt. Where the people around you, maybe people who loved you in their own limited way, responded to your upset with dismissal. With irritation. With silence. With you're too sensitive, toughen up. So you adapted. You got good at smooth. You got very, very good at making the room comfortable at your own expense. And I want to be clear about something. That was not a failure. That was intelligence. That was you, at whatever age you learned it, figuring out the most effective way to stay connected to the people you needed. The only problem, is that your nervous system doesn't come with an automatic update when the circumstances change. Keeps running the same program it built back then. In new relationships, new workplaces, new rooms full of different people who aren't actually dangerous. You're still carrying protection you no longer need. But your body doesn't know that yet. When most people recognize this pattern in themselves, they go straight to self-criticism. I should have said something. I'm such a pushover. Why can't I just stand up for myself? And I get it. That self-criticism makes a certain kind of sense on the surface. But it completely misses what's actually going on. You're not laughing because you're spineless. You're laughing because part of you genuinely assessed in real time that laughing was the only option that felt survivable. That being honest about what you felt carried a risk, even a small, theoretical one, that your nervous system wasn't willing to take. Criticizing yourself for that is like getting angry at yourself for flinching when something comes at your face. The flinch doesn't mean you're a coward. It means you have a nervous system that's doing its job. And here's the reframe that changes things. That laugh wasn't a betrayal of yourself. In a strange way, it was loyalty. Your system prioritizing connection and safety over honesty. That's not nothing. It just has a cost you've been paying quietly for a long time. So what do you actually do with all of this? And I want to be really honest here. I'm not going to tell you to start confronting people. That's not what this is about, and that kind of advice when your nervous system hasn't caught up yet doesn't land, it just adds pressure. What actually helps is something smaller. And it starts after the moment, not during it. Right now, for a lot of people, there's a gap. The laugh happens at noon. The realization arrives at midnight. The goal isn't to eliminate the laugh. The goal is to close that gap, slowly, over time, so the check-in happens a little sooner each time. After the next moment like this, when you're alone and the replay starts, try asking yourself one simple question. Not, why didn't I say something? That question just leads back to shame. But this one instead. What was I actually feeling in that moment? That's it. Just name it. Not to fix it. Not to do anything about it. Just to tell yourself the truth about your own experience, which, if you've been fawning for a long time, might actually be something you haven't been doing regularly. That question, asked without judgment, is where things quietly begin to shift. Here's what I want you to take from this. That laugh, the one you did while someone was being unkind, was not evidence that you're a pushover. It wasn't consent. It wasn't proof that you don't value yourself. It was a nervous system doing what it was trained to do. In a world it was taught to be careful in. The version of you that learned to laugh in those moments was trying to take care of you. With the tools they had, in the environment they were in. And they did a decent job. They got you through some things. But you're here now, asking a different kind of question. Noticing something that most people spend their whole lives explaining away or laughing off. Pun fully intended. And that noticing? The fact that you replayed it. The fact that you sat with the discomfort of wondering why. The fact that you're watching a video about it rather than just moving on. That's not a small thing. That's the beginning of choosing differently. Next time you're lying awake replaying one of these moments, and if this landed, you probably know exactly which one just came to mind, don't use it as evidence against yourself. Use it as information. Ask what you were actually feeling. Let the answer be whatever it is. And then, gently, remind yourself that a nervous system that learned to protect you in uncomfortable rooms is not a broken thing. It's a thing that can learn something new. You don't have to fix anything tonight. Just notice. That's enough for now. Take care of yourself.